Pops all credit. I mean, that's a Saffold thing.
That's a Saffold.
That's a Saffold thing. That's
gonna
in
figure
the
it out.
blood.
That's in the bloodline.
Because I got uncles that do tree trimming. If they know Saffold, they do tree trimming. They know Saffold, they doing something in the construction industry. And they know Saffold's gonna hustle.
They're gonna figure it out.
That's what Pop said. Dad, what you gonna do today? I'm going hustling. I ain't going to work.
So from the beginning, that's so
I'm
deep.
going hustling.
That to me that's the game that's the hustle. Excuse me. That's the game your father gave you. From the morning he's getting up, he's not telling you he's going to work. I'm going hustling.
Well, hustling. That's what he said.
So in your mind, whatever you do, whatever you did, you just going to go hustle.
Yeah.
So if it's going to school to get a degree, and so what did you get a degree in? Respiratory.
One of the degrees.
One of the degrees.
One of the degrees is respiratory therapy. Another degree is business administration.
You just were going to hustle.
I'm just going to hustle.
That's powerful. All right, so let's get to it. So today is definitely a special friend that's here. Ezra, Lisa, Buddy Saffold. Let me stop. I had to make sure I give my dog Lisa a shout out. No, Ezra, Buddy Saffold is definitely a friend, a brother that people don't realize how much Ezra been there for me. He helped me. There's a bunch of stories I have, how much he's been a solid brother since I've been in this community. But I want to get into it, buddy, man. The importance. I want to talk about family. I want to talk about generational wealth. I want to talk about legacy. There's a bunch of things. Because we talk about a lot of things, man. And I don't think people understand the wisdom that you give out to other entrepreneurs, just to other men. Just building with them. But I want to talk about from the beginning, man, where does it all get started? So born and raised in Revere Beach. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How was growing up in Revere Beach, mother and dad in the house? Like, give me a little bit of background about you from back in the days, where it all got started.
Well, gladly. I grew up in Federal Gardens. That's the hood I rep.
You rep Federal Gardens?
Yeah, Federal Gardens, one of the best neighborhoods in Revere, in the Raw.
Of course.
All right, that's what I would say. Everybody say the same thing. But I grew up in Federal Gardens. My dad raised me from 4 years old. My mother went off to the military, and my dad stayed up in the paint. And
wow.
Decided to make that very rare commitment for a black man back then. To say I'm going to raise...
Not just back then. You don't hear that a lot.
Yeah, say I'm going to fully raise my son. And that's where my rearing actually comes from a father who was an entrepreneur. I'm a third generation entrepreneur. And, Pops was there for me. I grew up.
In the household? Who was in the household with you guys?
Just he and I. And
wow.
Frequent, occasional girlfriends.
But
I'm not going to put that on blast. So.
Yeah, I love him. Watch your mouth.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth. So, Buddy Senior, nickname. It was just, so your mom only had you? You were the only child? Or?
No, I have an older brother. My mom had an older brother who coincidentally lived around the corner with his grandmother in the same neighborhood.
Same father or different father?
Same mother.
Same mother, okay.
Same mother. So he was raised by his father's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And we both grew up and hung around the neighborhood there. So our upbringing, my upbringing was one really full of experiences. I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything. And growing up in Riviera and in Federal Gardens, we grew up playing on the ditch bank.
Man, listen. I'm not from here. So you just gotta throw. What is?
You never heard of a ditch bank?
No, I never heard
from
of a
New
ditch.
Hampshire, bro?
Watch your mouth. From Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Oh, similar.
Here you go. Here we go.
But anyway, if you know, we got
get your mic right also.
Yeah, we have canals, a good canal system, a water management system here in
Here's the
Riviera
GC
Beach.
and you talking now.
No, I'm just saying the dish bank. That's not GC. We had dish bank, and it was great for playing if you're a little kid. Right? They had tadpoles.
The ditch bank is just basically a canal that you guys just jumped in and play?
We didn't play, we fall in it. And then, like, you know, we just, you know, there was...
No, I don't.
You know, we grew up with a good ecological sense here in Riviera. We were surrounded by woods.
God.
So, you know, there would be tadpoles, moccasins, alligators, all kind of
that's it?
animals that, you know, we...
Just play with.
Not play with, but we respect it. And it would be in the dish bank. You know, dish bank would have vines. You know, it have a board to cross to go to the other side. You know.
So you're saying it's like it's regular. Do you know that's not regular in other communities?
In Riviera, it is. That's what makes us different.
Absolutely, absolutely. So growing up around that, did you guys have a big family? Your father's side also had a big family, though.
That's correct. The Saffolds.
The Saffolds.
Yep, they are very well known in Riviera Beach.
How many brothers and sisters?
There was 6 boys, 2 girls.
6 boys, 2 girls.
Yep. Herman, Mervin, Pete, TC, they call him Junior. My dad and Mervin. Them the boys. And then 2 girls, Lois and Shirley.
Wow. Tight knit.
Tight knit. Very tight knit. Tight knit. My grandfather made a name for himself here in Riviera, TC. Saffold, you know, everyone knew him. You know, they knew him. He had, you know, he had his day. You know, everyone know TC. You know, he was
TC was hanging out a little bit.
He was a very successful entrepreneur early on. I mean, back from when civil rights and all that time, coming out of civil rights days, he made it. I mean,
what did he do for it? What did he do as
he had
as
a paving construction company. Did roadways.
So the paving company you guys are running now started from TC, Granddaddy.
Yes, yeah, third. That's why if you see Saffold paving, you'll see an S3.
Wow.
3rd generation Saffold paving.
So before we get into that, did he do anything else? So that's a good thing. So growing up with your father, that was an amazing thing that he stepped up and took you in. Your mom went to the military. He took you in and he raised you. Did you see entrepreneurship? Did he take on entrepreneurship also?
Yeah. You know, Pops walked around with a briefcase, and you know, he had it. Honestly, it's in our blood. You know, he got it from his dad, knowing how to deal with clients, deal with other people, knowing how to shake hands, how to operate, how to have the relationships at that time, which was like really not the norm. You know, and you know, he kind of instilled that in me. I still remember an image, and there's a picture where I would walk around with my dad's briefcase with a pamper, and his shoes
had a pamper?
and his shoes and a beer can. I don't know what the beer can came from, but
you had to add a little twist to it. You know, it was the canal.
It
was starting that Riviera Beach Canal. A couple of water.
We'll just
water
moccasins, alligators, tadpoles. You know,
we're just gonna leave it there. So growing up in a household with a dad and you know a couple other people that visited once in a while. Like, how was that, man? Growing up with just you and your dad, like,
man, it was amazing. I mean, everyone wants to hang out with their daddy. You know, their daddy, you know, do things, play ball, play catch, go to the mall, whatever. And my dad was, I mean, I would say that I was his, you know, I was his world. You know, I would just say to this day, man, I still have to get my back scratched because he would scratch my back, you know, for me to go to sleep. And it's still a quirk of mine.
Listen, we're not going there because Lisa, I'm not doing this, Lisa. I'm not even gonna let this happen.
She gonna kill me for that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let this happen because she knows where I let you in on
this, in my household right there.
Well, there's other secrets that I know that I'm gonna let everybody else know, so you have to worry about that part.
Yeah.
But so growing up, you know, that's so amazing because you don't hear that part of fatherhood. You know, you don't hear the champion that your father, you know, was to you in your life. I think we don't talk a lot about that. You know, your father stepping up, being a businessman, but still making his son priority and taking care of you. I think that's always an amazing thing to hear. And, you know, it's crazy how we're not normalizing great dads, but I think it's something that is super commendable. And I met him myself, so I know what time it is, what kind of man he is.
So if I had to define hero, it would be my dad. And that's real. He is a true hero to the word.
Explain why. Like, why is he your hero?
Because he did things. He did his best for me. I remember many Christmas he would wait outside of somebody's house to get a check just for he and I to go shopping at Toys R Us. You know, I mean, these are the kind of things that he would do to make sure I had what I had. I remember going to Washington, D.C. in the 5th grade. You know, I didn't have a jacket. You know, he did what he can. We rode down to Boca to a Goodwill for him to get a jacket for me to make sure at the last minute. You know, little things like that this guy, and most importantly, he's my hero because growing up, I had asthma. Bad. You know, I outgrew it, but this guy, you know, would be up with me every night while I'm wheezing. And that's where the back scratching came in because that would calm me down so I can breathe.
So you remember this growing up, that your father being there for you in that capacity.
That's big. He wasn't just a weekend father. He wasn't just, hey, here goes some money. I mean, this is a guy like most people have with their mothers. You know, he was that kind of guy. You know, he was, you know, I'm looking out for my own. That's why I say he's a hero. And there's so much more. I mean, the fact that he put in something special in me. I remember when I used to, you know, get into arguments with people. He would say, buddy, take the high road. Take the high road. Don't go down to their level, you know.
He instilled those principles in you early.
Those principles, and I asked him one time, you know, early on in my adult life, I said, how come, you know, when people see me, they ask me for money, right? And he said, hey, would you rather be the one who needs it or the one who's able to give it? And that was big in my life.
So those mindsets. So I was also raised by a great father that stepped up. You know, my mother sent me to live with him when I was 7. So he took care of me, but he instilled principles that he never told me how to do a certain thing, but I was able to watch him do certain things. So looking at those principles and how he defined manhood and what a man's supposed to do and those things. And then I also have friends that wasn't raised, that was not raised by their father. And I know I could tell the difference. And I could tell some things that I just think is principles. They're looking at me like I'm crazy at times. Like that's not, you know, like I think it's once again, it's so impactful just to hear that and to also I can relate to it because I was raised by a great dad, you know, that taught me a lot of principles, a lot of value and things like that. But now growing up in Riviera Beach, did you go to school? Did everything in Riviera Beach? Like what's...
Well, you know, back when I was going in high school, they started integration. They shipped us from Federal Gardens out to a school
called... You know how
called...
crazy that sounded to me?
What?
Like, you're saying going to school in this community, that's when integration started.
That's when they started shipping us to Military Trail, school off Okeechobee Boulevard in Military Trail. They shipped certain neighborhoods. Most people went to Lincoln, right here in Riviera, went to Washington, right? Went to, what's the other one? West Riviera. And they shipped our neighborhood, our particular neighborhood.
Federal Garden, where the rich kids stay.
I didn't say that. Out to Military Trail.
So you're talking about this is the first year this happened?
It wasn't the first year, but
that's when
it was, you know, it was
so how was that?
It was an experience because back then on Military Trail, they had nothing but farms, cows. We went to school with the guys with the boots and the hat.
It was a little different.
It was a little different. We got in fights with the little kids with the hats and the boots.
Because it's different for both of you guys.
Yeah. yeah. And we grew up with that, you know, and I think that did give us in Federal Gardens just a little tweak because we were exposed to different types of teachers, different types of teachers.
Wow.
We had a different type of teacher.
So there wasn't a lot of white educators in this side. Basically, that's what it is.
I just know that
I know you have to try to be politically correct.
I know that we had a lot of
more white teachers in your school.
And black. We had some. They were like one. You can count one on one finger or two on two fingers. But
wow. So when you went out to school in those and what you call out west probably back then,
yeah,
Okeechobee and military. That's when you got integrated with different cultures. And
exactly.
Wow.
But also I go back to the hero. My dad exposed me to that early on because we did work in Tequesta, Jupiter Island. We did work on Palm Beach. And a lot of
because you used to go, when he went to work, you went to work with him.
Oh, yeah. Early on, man. And I would, I'd be in the backyard playing and one of these well-off, they let me in and, hey, you want some water? You want to play with my kids? I remember Stompers came out, man. You got Stompers in our neighborhood.
What is Stompers?
You remember the little trucks? They had a little battery in them.
You're old, but yeah.
The little trucks with the batteries, and I never knew about them, man. But I was playing with kids I didn't know, but found out they were the heirs, Chuck Curcio of Tire Kingdom. I was playing with his kids. My dad out there outside doing some work.
Pavement work.
Yeah. But I'm inside playing with the kids. So this exposed
So he already started taking you in that early.
Learn how to shake hands and look at people in their eye, talk to them, comfort level, yeah.
Wow.
Showing me how to measure, early on.
Early on, like, so then you started working for him and the paving company?
I did. I started, and here's the other part. He brought on my friends and my cousin on the summertime. And on the weekends, everybody would load up on the truck as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old.
To come to work.
He'll pay them $30, $40 a day.
They rich back then, especially.
Yeah, that's enough to go to the store and get you a polo shirt and some other things that you weren't able to get. And you can jump on the truck.
So he gave them a shot.
He gave them a shot. And he influenced a lot of guys. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that he influenced way back then is one of my key guys now on the crew.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did anyone else in the family wanted to take on TC's paving business, or how did your father become the guy to take that on?
He was the oldest, and I think he was the one that grabbed the bull by the horns. He said, "I'm gonna do what I need to do." I think there was a little tension between he and my granddaddy anyway. That's a whole nother story for another time. But I think he look, I'm going to be my own man and get my own. It was a spinoff. He wasn't competing with Grandpa. He wasn't competing. He just saying, I'm going to start doing a new type of product. He started doing seal coating. With seal coating out in the parking lot where you put the liquid tar out instead of putting asphalt with a roller. He started doing that. So he started doing more seal coating, which is a whole nother
element
product. Yeah, so he started doing that, a spinoff. And he was quite,
But I also know, because I know you also try to do other things before you got into the paving side with your father.
Oh yeah.
Like how was that? And what made you go to that?
Well, the first thing I attempted was a street level pharmacist, and a
street level pharmacist.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's normally not a career that. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
All right. So this is where I got that's where the hero came in again. This man heard that I was
trying to be a pharmacist in the street.
Be this guy that I didn't have to be. And he called me into the house. He said, "Hey, I heard such and such. Is it true?" I'm like,
"Can't rely on him because
how you know? Yeah, how you know?" I'm like, "I see your pill bottle." And he said, "You got to be the dumbest."
The dumbest.
Eminem, he cussed me out. I never heard my daddy cuss me out like that before and say, your butt going to jail. I ain't coming to get you. You're going to be like your cousins and your uncles, and I'm going to leave you in there. He put the fear of God in me, right? And I just never wanted to disappoint him, and I never...
It's your friend. That's your partner.
I've never disappointed him before, when I seen the hurt in his eyes, man, I was like, this is not worth it. This is not worth it. And he said, man, look around you. All people in my era didn't make it. The guys in your era are either going to jail. He said, look, little buddy, all your friends, either going to jail or they getting killed. what are you doing? Right? And he said, you too smart for this. You know better. And like I said, I didn't want to disappoint him. And I knew better. It was fun. It was back then. I was just dumb and young. I was 19.
So was it even were you doing it for the money part, or were you doing it because that was the cool thing to do around locally?
It was a cool thing. You know, hey, look at me. I'm wearing a big gold necklace. Look at me. I got...
Because you're from a hard-working family.
Exactly. So, you know, I got smart. And that's where I think my biggest fork in the road came. Where all my friends were doing that. And I had to tell myself, look, I want more. And I have to tell you the story. This is where I wanted more. I decided to leave that alone and go back and work with Pops. You know, hey, go out here and in the field and do what I got to do to keep money in my pocket. And I helped grow the company and I was doing that, but it was hot. It was
just to be clear,
it was hard, and most of the young ladies back then gravitate to the guys walking in the Dixie Fried Chicken, smelling like seal coat. Right, asphalt.
Even though wasn't that.
Yeah, even though I had a pocket full of money, it wasn't a seal coat, and I was really dark, so it just. I had to do something else. So one day I was out there in the asphalt pile working, and I had a sharp pain in my back from shoveling asphalt, and then I looked around at the crew, my dad's crew, and either they were snagger-tooth, or they were crackheads, or they were just, guys that just gave up.
Appealing.
Yeah, and I say, well, either I do something else, I don't know what it is, or I'm going to be, this is where I'm going to end up in this world. And right then, a Lexus, back then it was a 1990 Lexus LS400 rolled by. And we were in like Atlantis, like working in a nice neighborhood, and and this Lexus rolled by. And I'm looking, and I stopped, and like it was in slow motion.
The whole thing was like...
It was slow motion. I seen a guy in there, his hair blowing back, right? So I know the AC was cold. My back was hurting. And then I looked down at my shoes. They had melted, literally. My shoes had melted. It was just that hot that day. It was the middle of summer. And I said, whatever it is, in my mind, what do I need to do to get that life? And I pictured him going to a gated community, golf course community with a 3-car garage,
you already
big house in the pool. He pulling up in that Lexus 400 in this house, in this golf community. And that's what my dream was. And that Lexus was a symbol of that. And I say right then, the other two things I was doing weren't really going to get me there. I need to do something else. And that's when I went and enrolled in college. I said the only other option I got is to go to school and...
Now you were done with high school already then?
I was done with high school. I was in that phase of trying to figure it out. Us black men try to figure it out. We don't know who our true identity is.
Right. And if the only thing you have is your father, paving company, so you did that, but you saw other things that you...
Yeah, I still wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to get to that Lexus 400.
That 400 was looking...
Yeah, so I figured that the only way I can get me there is I go to college to get my degree. Right, and that next week I went and enrolled in Palm Beach State.
How was it when you talked to your father about that? I'm going to school.
He never taught me out of it. He never said anything. But hey, here's the money to go and enroll. He said, I'm proud of you. As long as you're doing something positive. He wasn't the kind of father that says, hey, college. He let me figure it out. So I went and enrolled in Palm Beach State that next week. And I started taking classes, and I started realizing that, either I could be out there in the hot sun, or I could be in this nice, cool library.
This AC was looking a little better.
Yeah, I'm in this library studying, right? And then I just started studying.
So were you working around that time, or he was just supporting?
I would work on the weekends.
Okay. And
I learned to save a little bit more money because I would spend a little bit more time in the library. And being in the library, it's free.
So you were locked in.
I was locked in. I was like, I'm gonna do the right thing. And then it started getting to the point where I started meeting different type of friends, right?
Because you had the school hanging out now.
Yeah. So I'm at study groups. And then at at night, I would go home and, hey, it's ladies' night on Tuesday. And this is where my big fork in the road came. Hey, man, you going to ladies' night with us? Oh, man, I need to go study. And that's when Old Square.
Yeah.
Old Square.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I started getting
it.
And I had to make that decision. And it just, that fork, that trajectory just got more and more, where a lot of my friends were going in different directions. And it was hard. It was hard to commit to something bigger than what you know. You know it's something bigger, but you just don't know. And it's that leap of faith in having faith in your own ability that is needed.
Where do you think you build that faith from? Like, where do you think all that is? Well, you think your father instilled all that in you?
I think that's a big part. He, by exposing me and being successful at whatever he was doing, kind of gave me the sense that it could be done.
So you watch him.
I watched him, but I started believing in myself too. I started saying, okay, I can go to school and make A's. I can go to school and get B's. You don't have to be from a certain class to make A's and B's. You just got to study hard.
Because the identity you saw in kids that went to school and produced and did all those things was the other kids that was not from the paving company and all those things.
They were the ones that moms and daddies were lawyers and doctors, and they were pushed that way.
You know, it's crazy. That's the identity that you saw and you thought in your mind, but that's not really the real world. But I think that's what happens to us a lot. Like, what we see is what we believe. Yeah. So if we never get to see more than what's in front of us, you're really in trouble at that point.
It's all about exposure. If you limit your circle of influence, you're going to be limited in how far you can go. If you're exposed to big-time producers like yourself, you know, maybe this guy looks like me. You know, if he can do it, I could do it. And that's the general, that's how it works. That's how we pay it forward.
So when you started seeing, well, you separated yourself from different friends and you started dealing with the, you know, the people that they call squares, the schoolboys. Did you, like, what made you just lock in and want to keep on pushing to that route?
And it was more of them other people. And they were going for doctors. I was headed to that medical side because Pops, you know, he would keep it real with me. He said, man, you don't want to be stuck out here like me. You should go to school for medical, something in medical field, so you can get a steady check every week.
He was trying to protect you.
He was trying to keep me. He said, if I had to do it over, I would probably do it different because being an entrepreneur is hard. Yeah, and Pops had a rough time at it. So he said, go in the medical field. So I was taking courses that gear me into the medical. I think I want to become a physical therapist.
Okay.
Right? So I started taking coursework. And then taking that coursework, I started hanging around the kids that were going to be doctors and pharmacists and engineers. And I started hanging with them, studying with them, and making just as good grades as them.
So the new identity you saw helped you develop the identity you wanted.
Yep.
So you're now hanging with a different group of people. They're getting education. They want doctorate degree. Mm-hmm. Your father wanted to protect you and say, hey, go get a go for that medical degree also. It's a steady good check. So you thought so then you actually went into not pharmacy. What did you I know you also when you went into the medical side, what side did you go into?
I went to be a chiropractor. That's how I started off. I'm like, I could be a chiropractor. I'm making good grades just like these guys. I can do it. I can apply to med school. So I was going that route. And in taking that route, I also got I started dual enrolling. I'm like, hey, if I could do one.
So you really in this school
I'm bought in. And I got a respiratory therapist degree.
Wow.
Respiratory therapy, which allowed me to make money. Back then, I'm talking 25 years ago, I was making $20 an hour.
So your father definitely was telling you, don't come back out here. Buddy, you stay your butt out here.
Yeah. And I bought my first house. That's how I bought my first house, right here on 18th Street.
Wow.
I worked day shift, night shift. I worked 50 hours.
So the grind was already there.
The grind was there already.
So then
I took the grind and applied it to something positive.
Because so for you, pavement was the sun. So 50 hours in the AC for you was like, this is light. I could do this.
And think about it too. Paving work, it's a grind. I mean, I'm knocking on doors. Hey, you want your parking lot paved? You want your driveway paved? I remember
because there wasn't a marketing campaign back then.
No, it's you getting in the car with some cards. If you want to eat, I'm a traveling salesman. Did no different than the guys who walked around with sewing machines and vacuum cleaners. Right?
Wow.
What's that Will Smith movie?
Oh yeah. The father, son. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I don't know the name.
That was me. I remember being.
Matt could pull up the name for us. Yeah. When he is the Will Smith when he lost his job. He was walking around with that computer. Matt's gonna pull it up for us so people can know the name what we're talking about. Matt, are you about to put Will Smith walking around with Jaden? Yep, he's getting there. Yep, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yep. Yeah. So I remember I had.
Thank you, man.
I'm up in Jupiter, and I'm knocking on doors. Right, I would do that in the afternoon after school. Knock on doors. Hey, you want your driveway seal coated or paid? You know, I see that it's in disrepair. I can give you a great price. This one lady slammed the door in my face. Boom. No, and get out of my yard. Right? But that didn't defer me because I knew I could go right around the corner and land one. That's where the hustle came from. Back then, I was able to put $500, $600, $700 in my pocket over the weekend.
Wait, after you worked?
No, this before.
This before. Okay.
This like during college.
But you were able to do school during the week and still go 6-7 and be the salesman now for your father's company.
You got it.
But you were the communicator. You were the. I see how it all came together.
Yeah.
So that grind, the hustle, that was already instilled from the beginning.
It was. So
when you had to go into the next hustle, the next grind, this was light for you.
It was. It was natural. A natural
hustle.
Just like breathing for me.
So did anybody even teach you that part of the company? Or was it just, buddy, go figure this out?
Pop showed that to me. Pop showed me how to measure. Pop gave me the game.
But I'm talking about as far as the communication, knocking on the doors and selling. Like, I
got to give Pops all credit. I mean, that's a Saffold thing.
That's a Saffold
thing. That's
in
the blood.
That's in the bloodline.
Because I got uncles that do tree trimming. If they know Saffold, they do tree trimming. They know Saffold, they doing something in the construction industry. And they know Saffold's going to hustle.
They're going to figure it out.
That's what Pop said. Dad, what you going to do today? I'm going hustling. I ain't going to work.
So from the beginning, that's so
I'm going hustling.
That to me that's the game that's the hustle. Excuse me. That's the game your father gave you. From the morning he's getting up, he's not telling you he's going to work. I'm going hustling.
Well, hustling. That's what he said.
So in your mind, whatever you do, whatever you did, you just going to go hustle.
Yeah.
So if it's going to school to get a degree, and so what did you get a degree in? Respiratory.
One of the degrees.
One of the
degrees is respiratory therapy. Another degree is business administration.
You just were going to hustle.
I'm just going to hustle.
That's powerful. So now you got into the respiratory therapy. Mm-hmm. How long you last doing that?
I last 3 years. And I'm going to tell you why. Because again, I took the hustle there. Right? You got any shifts? Oh, I take a night shift. You got a day shift? I take a day shift. Oh, you want me to do a double shift? I do a double shift. I'm about hustling right now because I'm trying to get somewhere. Where am I trying to get? I'm trying to buy this first house, right? So I did this. What was your motivation to buy the first home? Like, what was that for you? Like, why? Did you have kids already, or? Yeah, I did have my son.
Oh, you had your son already.
I did have my son, and I wanted, because my dad raised me, I wanted my son to see that. Same thing. I wanted my son to have his own room. This is what we do. Yeah, I wanted my son to have his own room.
Wow.
That's what my motivation was. I wanted him to have his own room. I want to see that Pops got it.
So Pops made it happen. Your father made it happen. Your ultimate thing is how you're going to make it happen for your son. And that was that hustle that's so powerful. That's so dope. I think it's an amazing thing. And that's the importance of fatherhood. That's the importance of seeing the grind, the hustle, and it's building everything. So now at that point, you and your child's mother and yourself, you had a goal for that? Were you guys still together around that time, or was it just...
Yeah, around that time, her and I, we were young.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like all young couples, they
ups and downs.
need growth. They need growth. And we did not make it. And because of that, I knew I needed to do something. I'm not one of the kind of guys that's going to be by the wayside and not
step up.
So
then, you went and got this house by yourself, just you?
Just me. And
but you saw this before?
I saw it. Pops bought his first house at 23.
By himself?
By himself.
And took care of his son?
Took care of his son.
So you already knew you weren't going to just leave your son. You want to give him his own room?
Yeah.
So when you locked that in, you started working crazy shifts at the job?
Or whatever it took. Working extra shifts and working...
And in the pavement.
And pavement weekend. Because if I can go now I know how to go make money. If you know how to make money, you know how to ride a bicycle, you'll never forget. So on the weekend, I knew I'd go make $1,500. And Pops took it to the next level. He said, no, I'm not going to have you work for me. Now I'm going to let you go out and get the job, and we can split it in half.
Oh. He instilled a whole different...
You know what I mean? So now I done took the game from $1,000 job, a little driveway. Now I'm going to get a parking lot for 10 stacks.
Change
and
everything. Pops
already said he's going to split it in half with me. Buddy, you run the job, you get it done or whatever, you know, and, you know.
Give me mine, get yours.
Yeah, you pay all the expenses, and whatever's left, we split it in half.
So now you become now you're working on becoming the owner, the next generation of the pavement company business.
He let me taste it. He let me have a taste.
With the support. So you're using his staff. You're going out there to build the jobs.
Yeah.
And now you guys split everything down the middle.
Yeah.
You guys basically 50-50 partner in that capacity.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. He made me his partner.
I'm taking him to the Chinese restaurant because I already know that's what he wants. Wow. So Mr. Saffold decided, I'm going to take my son in from the beginning. Mom went to the military. I'm taking my son in. I'm going to teach him the game. I'm going to bring him from the beginning to carry this briefcase around, see the game, see the grind. Every time he leaves work, I'm going out to hustle. Now you get to the point where you had your first son. You want to make sure you're putting him in the same position your father did, creating that legacy, that the importance of providing for your family. He did that for you. You're doing that for your son. You have a newborn. You wanted him to have his own room. What happens after that? Because now you're doing what happened after that? You said you're running you guys have a partnership with Pavement.
Yep. But
you're still respiratory.
Correct. You asked me for how long was I in that? So I worked in that capacity, working. And I saw something. I saw that if I do all this working, I'm still only going to get XYZ. I think I worked 65 hours one week, which is the most you can actually physically do.
Right.
You're doing 12-hour shifts. I did
back to back.
I did 6, or I did 5 back to back 12-hour shifts. I was burnt out. And I say, this the level of work I have to do to make this amount of money. After they took taxes out and I saw it. And then I saw how much energy I put in this. And right then I made another power move. I said, I can't do this. And I can't work for nobody, because I saw what they were charging for my time. And I saw what I was making. I saw I was making this from all this energy. And I saw how much they made off of my energy. And being entrepreneurial minded, I said, well, if I can do it for them, if I can put this energy for them, I can darn well do it for myself.
And your family.
And my family. So right then I decided that I had to make a power move. Now, what was that power move? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you another story. Very powerful. When I was young, when I would be out there working with my dad, there would be this guy pull up in the truck, big white truck. And he would pull up in his truck and leave the truck.
I just realized something while you're telling the story. All your trucks are white.
All right. Yep. So this guy pulls up in this big white truck, leaves it running. You know, clack, 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 clack. That's that diesel running, right?
Here we go.
Right? So he pulls up and he say, "Hey, Mr. Saffold, how you doing? Oh, hey, buddy." And he call him buddy. "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, great job. I got another one right
He's
around the
talking to
corner."
your father now.
He's talking to my father, and I'm right there. I'm right there helping pots, and I'm looking at the guy get out with his boat belt. He got on boat shoes, boat belt.
It's important. It's the culture.
Yeah. He jumps out, truck running, clean, right? Hands my dad a check. "Thank you, Mr. Such and Such. All right, what's the next job? I'll go look at it. All right, buddy, let me know. Give me a price." Gets back in the truck and pulls off. All right, and I'm looking as he pulling off like, wow.
Something hit different, huh?
Right. Wait a minute. Right? So that's in the back of my mind. Right? And I'm like, who is this guy that has always pulled up and gave my daddy a check and got back in his truck? Fast forward. Never knew. I'm a respiratory therapist. I'm taking care of this guy, older white guy. He's in this sick bed. And I'm taking care of him. He's my patient. And he just happens to speak to me. I speak to him, and we start this conversation. He's like, "Yeah, you're a nice guy, boom, 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 boom." And he said, "What's your family name?" I said, "My granddaddy, his granddaddy, T.C. Saffold." "Oh, I know old T.C. Saffold. It's paving. He used to do all my paving work." "What's he up to now?" I said, "Oh, he passed away, right?" He was like, "Oh." And I said, "What did he do?" He said, I'm a contractor. I'm a general contractor. Your granddaddies do all my paving work." I'm like, wow, it's a small world. He say, "What do you do?" I say, he said, why don't you become a contractor?" I'm like, that's not for me. I'm all right where I'm at. And he said, "Okay, well, just keep that in mind." So not long after that, I take care of another patient. This time it's a Jamaican guy. And he's sick. And he talks to me, right? And he says, "Hey, you're a nice guy," because I always talk to my patients. I like to get to know them. Bedside care is something that I really was proud of. And I started talking to him and asked him what he did for a living. He says that I'm a statewide building contractor. I'm like, what is that? He said, "I go all over the state and I work for FP&A, all kind of other contract companies, and I do their building services. And I make a lot of money." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "You should become one." I said, "All right. What?" No. And then right then, bing. These guys who they're saying I should be is the same guy who was in the big white truck pulling up, giving my daddy a check. These guys are general contractors.
And your story so far, the consistency of it, every time you saw something, if you could see it, now you could do it. So you kept on seeing these different guys, like, he did it, and it's all registering, and you remember the guy with the white truck. Now you want to do the same.
I was like, this
now you know
guy,
you could do it.
I know I could do it, because these guys, I'm exposed to them, and I knew who the guy was. And right that same next week, I went and signed up for the general contracting test.
The next week, you wasn't even playing with it. He wasn't. Yeah. You were like, "Nah, we're not even gonna wait for this."
Yeah, and that was gonna be my next power move, to get out of my situation that I didn't want to be in.
So where were you around that time? So did you already have your second child, or
no?
So now it's just you and your son. You guys living in the house. You out, you dating, whatever you're doing in life. You're just working your job, but you always knew, after I'm building this paving company, I still want more. Like, what made you always want more? Like, you were never just content with what you were or what you had.
Exposure, my brother. It's when Pops exposed me to bigger and finer things throughout life. I'm seeing houses on the beach. I'm seeing
You're seeing
all
wealth.
over Palm Beach County. I'm exposed to it. So when I realized that was what I need to do, it was going to allow me to not have to go back into paving. And I already know that that's where the money is. You're in control of the money as a general contractor. I studied on my night shift. I worked the midnight shift.
You still hustling?
I'm hustling because I would do my rounds, and in between my rounds, I had like 2 or 3 hours down.
How old were you around that time, you think?
Oh, I was 27 and hungry, and I hustled. So I would study in between my rounds. I made it I made it really entertaining for myself, man. I would like, get my night light, get myself, go do my rounds and come back. And I had my 2 or 3 hours to study. I'm studying at work. I'm studying for about 3-4 months. Took my test. Boom. Passed it on the first time. First time passed it. And the rest was history.
How was that feeling when you passed it? Like, what was that for you?
It was like an escape because I was miserable in the hospital. I was miserable. I mean, they had cliques, everybody else.
It's a bigger high school.
Yeah, everybody else, when they get done doing their rounds, they were allowed to sit there and talk and chart. They would tell me to go clean the storage room.
You was done.
Yeah, so I saw this is not for me.
Then you already saw, after I worked 65 hours, what I make after taxes. Yeah. So it wasn't just adding up for you where you wanted to be in life anyways.
No. So it was just a life for me. I needed escape, and I did something to escape. And when I got that score, I mean, this feeling of just accomplishment. There ain't nothing that I can't put my mind to that I can't accomplish. And that just gave me a whole nother, set of values that the only thing that could stop me is myself and my own limitations, my own fears. And I started going out hustling with the general. Now I got this license.
First day you got the license.
I have this license. I started on another company. I started Allsite Construction 21 years ago.
Hold on, buddy. Hold on. You get this license. You head up. You running right away.
Right away. I got this license. I put some money in. You got to have $5,000. Use my credit cards. Nobody, Pops didn't really have it like that. Credit cards. Did what I had to do.
But where you learn all that stuff? Because, that probably was a missing link that your father didn't. Like, when did you start learning the importance of credit and all those other things that we probably don't get taught a lot in our home?
Well, my mind is expanded now because I've gone to college now.
So now you got more information.
I've been exposed.
Exposure again.
I've been exposed. College teaches you how to speak, how to broaden your thinking. And I if you know paperwork, you know paperwork now. I knew how to do the paperwork, what the requirements are, what the qualifications are. I did what I had to do. I got my license. I got my insurance. I got my cards. I got my brochures. And now I'm ready for the world. Wow. I'm ready for the world.
How long did it get you to start putting all those things together? Because from the sounds of it,
it
looked like that
30 days. 30 days.
Like that weekend you was on.
It was 30 days. I remember as soon as I got them license, even before I got the license, I started looking for work. Looking for, hey, I'm Allsite Construction. I'm Ezra Saffold. Hey, will you give me an opportunity? All you got to do is, give me the chance. I'll show you what I can do. And back then, I'm a young black man, and people want to help. It's a phenomenon. All people want to help young black men that are doing positive things.
That I'm so happy you on that topic, man, because I think the crush that we believe that we create in our mind a lot, that they don't give young black men opportunity. But you were ready for it. You were prepared for it. You had to call all the qualifications for it. So when your turn was up, they're like open arms. But you did your part. You didn't let the color, you didn't let any other hurdles like stop you because you saw the hustle. This was another hustle for you. Like you were taught, you were trained. So putting yourself in that position, because you worked for that. When you went and approached people for opportunities, there were open arms. I know everybody wasn't, but majority you felt was.
Definitely. And if you're the type that don't want anyone to give you anything but an opportunity, you're going to take that opportunity when given to you, and you're going to run with it. Not going to look back. And that's what I did. I was given an opportunity, and I remember getting to the point where I could not afford to do respiratory therapy anymore. I started doing less days and less days. And I remember the manager who was giving me a hard time. She said, "Hey, I'm Ezra, what's going on? You're never on the schedule. I'm going to have to let you go if you can't be a part of the team." And I started smiling at her.
Like, that's it?
And I'm like, I understand. And I appreciate the opportunity to work here at your hospital with you. But
the day you decide.
I say, here's my card. If you need any construction work, let me
Saffold
know.
with her, huh?
And giving
Take
her
this
that
and call you
card
was everything.
Was everything. It was everything. It was payback for all the transgressions. It was, hey,
here you go. Take
here
this.
you go.
Call me if you need any work.
Call me if you need work.
What was the first check look like in construction? Because that had to.
I was already exposed to getting checks, but under Allsite, I'll say my first
check that made you realize
my first edition. It was a $70,000 job, and she gave me a deposit of $15,000. Again, you get that taste.
And you already had everybody in place because you were already in the industry.
I'm in the industry, and I knew then. And I'm gonna give a guy props. I'm gonna give this guy a shout out. Darryl Roberts. He's on a Built Solid, and he was a contractor already. He's local, and he and I became real good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I had zero vertical experience, right? So whenever I needed any kind of help, resources, help. Hey, how to hang this door? Who can I call to about these windows? He was right there to help me, right? So he gave me a skill set, showed me what it's like to be a general contractor, and once he showed me, how to, how things should look, doing vertical construction. He helped me get this addition done. He walked me, hey, when I need.
You believe that mentorship was a very key part to your business?
I think so. And it still is. Yep. He helped me, and then once there, I said, I got it now. I might not know how to hang a door, but I know how to go hire.
The best door hanger.
The best door hanger.
That separates everything.
Yep. And I already understood business too, right? My pops would tell people, hey, I'm not going to show my son how to work a shovel. Nah, he don't need to be the best shovel around. He don't need to put on the proof. I'm going to show him how to go hire
the best
3 shovel people. He can be over here getting 3 new jobs to keep them 3 shovel people working.
The hustle. How excited was your father when you got that GC license?
Oh man, my son made it to the league. My son made it to the league.
You in the league of contracting.
My son made it to the league. That is similar to making to the league.
I could only imagine the level of.
Yeah, and I was one of the youngest at that time. So it's like, because most of our uncles and fathers, they didn't have GC license. They just out there working as subcontractors. Not many people had general contracting license. You had a few.
So in the Saffold family, are you the first GC?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the first one. Yeah. To this day, still.
It's like taking a break right now, so I'm proud of that.
Let's take a break.
I'm not taking a break. Let's keep going. You thought you was gonna set me up for that? Nah. I almost set you up, but now we're not taking no break.
Your sponsors. Don't you got sponsors that you got?
No, you're my sponsor today. We're not even giving no sponsor. Allsite Construction is the sponsor today. No, I think for me it's super. A lot of things that I'm excited to hear about, man. Just you making your father proud, all the hard work he put into it, you building a legacy from where he started, from the things that he saw, from the things that you saw, and just how you learn from watching other people, man. I think that's so important. And then you going to get that mentorship in that process. I think that's something that a lot of people, when they ask the question, well, how do you make it as an entrepreneur? What do you do? You being able to watch other people do certain things, that's a big piece. It's studying, observing, but willing to do the work and hustle. Those are the pieces entrepreneurship is about that people don't talk about. They think, Allsite Construction is doing these jobs, but they don't hear the story about when you were working in a respiratory in the hospital, studying 3 hours, running. Like they don't know that part about it. And I think for you exposing that, I think is important. But now I want to get into, now you're moving, you're working. Talk about some of the hurdles that you went through in that process, because I know all the doors didn't just open up for you. What's some of the hurdles that you went through in building Allsite Construction from the beginning?
I'll tell you, lessons learned. And that's just another word for failure. And being able to accept failure, not as a failure, and you quit, but as a lesson that you learn from, and you try again and again until you get it.
Was it more lessons on the construction job or just overall managing of the business?
Everything, you know, from hiring people to getting people that come to work. And
that's got to be important.
Yeah, and more importantly, knowing the services that you give, you know, are reliable. You being responsive, knowing how to get there on time, and doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. If someone's going to have an appointment with you at 10 o'clock, you need to be there at 10 o'clock.
So you're not even talking about the hammer work. You're just talking about...
You're talking about business. We're talking about the business part, right? And then there's hiring the best skilled, qualified tradesmen to make sure that the product that you're giving is a quality product. You know, I remember my best lesson came from an inspector right here in Riviera Beach. Everybody know Lyle. He was a very good engineer. And I got this one big job. It was my first lick. My first, first, not the addition now.
Right.
This one was $150,000 job.
That thing hit different.
That's different.
It's not a lot of hours. It's not the same, not 65 hours.
I think that's when my walk changed.
Absolutely. You had an extra skip to the walk.
Yeah, no, I had a different walk. My pockets was dragging
moved a little different.
Yeah. So I remember putting in this long run of sidewalk. It had to be from here to say Blue Hair. And Lyle came out there and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna teach you something today. I'm gonna give you a gift today."
Be the day that you didn't want to get taught anything.
Yes. He went, he said, "Give me a second. I'm gonna walk to my truck and get my smart level." And I had all this pretty sidewalk. I had nothing paid for it and spent time grading it and doing all this. He came out there and put that smart level one way. He said, "Don't you know code is it can't exceed 8% cross slope, right? 8% for ADA. Like for ramp go, you can't be higher than 8% without railings." So I had areas that were that, and I'm like, okay, I can rip those out and do it again. But then he said, Ezra also, he put it this way. He said, you can't exceed 2% on a cross slope. And he put the level down, and the cross slope was exceeding 3%. And he say, by the way, the cross slope need to be towards the road.
How far in are you in this job now?
Oh, this job about $50,000, right? And the cross slope is this way. He said it should be aiming at the road so the water goes down into the swell. It was going back the other way. He says, "I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna let you rip it all out.
I'm gonna do you that favor.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you do it over again." And that was one of my lessons learned.
That was a real one.
And to this day, I know how to do concrete.
Right. Now you understand with the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But so you paid for that lesson.
I paid for it. So I say the real lesson is when you mess up, go ahead and bite the bullet. Still provide your customer with the best service, even if you're going to lose your shirt on it. Go ahead and take the hit, take the lesson, and make sure your client's happy.
Your client at that time was with the city that you had this opportunity?
No, it was with a developer who was developing a project out there.
Okay. So now you're building. It sounds like you're on the right path. You're growing your business. You're building. How is your personal life in that whole experience? Because you have 2 children?
I have 2 now. So part of getting my general contracting license, I also got my bachelor's degree. You know,
of course. Yeah. Why not? The hustle way.
Yep. I had the respiratory degree already. And in 2000, I got my bachelor's degree from FAU. And in 2001, I got my GC. No, I started my business, but I had the license. So in 2020, I got license, passed the test rather, and I got my degree. Well, going to FAU, I met my daughter's mother.
At FAU.
At FAU, you know, and it was one of them things. It was organic. you know, and it fostered my daughter, beautiful, beautiful Alexa.
How was that process though? Building the company, dating someone new, the organic part of it. You guys just met organically, like you guys just met organically at school.
Yeah, because she had a nice pair of jeans and it's nice butt.
The jeans and the butt. That's how it normally happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So once that happened, you lost all focus. You were like, I don't know what to do anymore. The cheese in the butt will do it.
Hey, this part you.
No, I'm not. I'm leaving this part. So I definitely want Lisa to kill you. This part. This is the one that we've been waiting for. I know she's not worried about nothing.
Yeah.
No, but so how was that dating, building these new companies? How was she in that process?
It was fun. It was fun because it was new. I'm away from the old world. I'm setting.
You want to build a family at that point?
Yeah, I'm doing something new. New house. I'm on a whole nother level now. You know, I'm doing different kind of things. I mean, we started traveling.
Wow.
You know, we started just doing different things. She was from a different pedigree. She went to private school all her life.
So your father wasn't traveling; he was just he worked and made it happen.
No, we went to Georgia.
Georgia, I forgot you from Florida.
We went to Georgia.
Georgia was out of the country for you.
Yeah,
guys,
went to Disney World. Went to Disney World in Georgia. Orlando in Georgia.
That's a Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I've learned that in this community. Those are the big trips. Going to Georgia and going to Disney World. It's the big trips in this community.
Don't bash it, bro.
No, I wasn't bashing. I was just giving facts.
Okay.
That's just what I know.
Okay.
From the let me stop while I'm ahead.
Yeah.
No, but so that family aspect of it, you were excited about that. You wanted that.
You know, I think I always crave having a mother figure. I think that's the one that we all have quirks. And mine would definitely be that hunt for a nurturing situation, that motherly woman, home type scenario that I didn't have. Because, you know, living with dads is different than living with moms.
It's a little different.
You know, just a little different, you know. The house smells a little different.
Yeah. It was a little prettier in this.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, I kind of craved that a little. So when I bought my house, around the time I was a bachelor for about 6 months. And I remember my dad, you know, first of all, we had dated for about, we dated for about 4 months. And I had the house, I had just gotten the house right before we met. And I was still a bachelor. And my dad was proud of me. He said, yeah, my boy bought his first house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He bought his first house. And he's a bachelor. He got a pool over there. And I remember telling him that, the girl I'm dating after 4 months is pregnant. Right? And we're just about to break up, too. Right? And she said, we can't break up.
We ain't doing this. This ain't no breakup thing.
Yep. And since my dad raised me, there's no way I can let my kid not live under the same roof as I when I have a roof. So that's when Pop said, hey, man, you got it going on in life now, man. You got your own crib. You're a bachelor. Why you messing up like this? I remember him saying,
messing up your life?
Why you messing up like this?
You're messing up your whole life right now.
So I ended up moving her in. And, you know, that was the end of that bachelor opportunity.
So you don't ruin your whole life.
Yeah. But it was all good, man. And, you know, I raised my daughter in that house.
How was that when you first got with, you know, the move? Like, how did you feel in that moment when you had everybody in the house together?
It was cool, man. At the beginning, it was cool. You know, I built, you know, by being a builder, I was able to practice on my own house. I mean, I did some wonderful things with it and had a family there to share it with. You know, it was good. It was
so
good
the house
times.
you built the house.
No, I didn't build the house. I renovated it.
You renovated.
You know, so it was cool having somebody to share it with, to experience it with me.
Did the relationship get better? Because you guys were talking about separating at that time. Did you guys get closer after the moving in or tried?
That's a good question. I would say our relationship kind of stayed the same, but our being a parent
was the most
puts
important.
You in a different category. So you kind of put your personal wants and desires over here on the side to be better for your kid. And I think that's what got us through a number of more years before we got to the point we say, hey, we don't have to do it for the kid anymore. You know what I mean? So we were together for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
So that's good. Like, so was your son living in there with you guys?
Yeah, my son, because me and his mother had a great relationship where we had 50-50 custody. And I would say it's more like 70-30 because she allowed me to be
his dad.
She never got in the way. She never played games. If I want him, here, get your son. If I want him.
So he had his room. It was like regular. Room. She go to her house.
Yep. She felt really comfortable to let him be with us. And as a matter of fact, when he played the system, when she got on him, I'm going to stay with my daddy. When I get on him, I'm going to stay with my mama.
He knew what time it was.
He knew he played the system.
But how? So they got you into bond though for the first 8 years.
Yep.
When he was there, she was there. So you had the home that you wanted at one time.
Yeah.
And you made it about your children, so you put up with the relationship.
Exactly.
As long as you can. So when that separation happened with your daughter's mother, how hard was that for you?
Very, 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 very hard. But I think it was something that had to be done. I had to be a man and say that, hey, if I don't have any intentions of marrying her, I need to not hold her up. And someone has to be the bigger because, we're at the age where, if we're not going to do right by each other, if we can't communicate, we had some issues. There's no need in doing it for the sake of the kid. And that's what we were doing. We're placating the situation for the sake of the kid. And that would have gone on and on and on. But I didn't want that for myself, because again, I'm looking for that nurturing and that.
So you had to make the decision of.
I had to make the decision. And it was hard because most men don't make the decision. They go out and get extra. Of
course.
Extra.
They think more will make it better, but
yeah. So I didn't want that. I wanted to do it the right way. And I said, look, I'm gonna let you guys stay here, and I'm gonna move out. Yeah.
So the house you built,
the first house that I bought,
you put remodel, you left your family in there and decided to move.
Yep.
Do you believe how your father raised you was one of the reasons you knew to take care of your family like this?
Yeah, of course.
That's the foundation.
Of course, look out for your family. And just because, our relationship wasn't successful or ran its course, don't mean that I still shouldn't look out. Even at, hey, I'd rather for you guys to be comfortable here. Stay here. Boom. And my father definitely put those values in me.
So now that I had to rock your world, you're away from your family. You're still building this business.
But not away. I mean, just,
You're not in the same home.
Not in the same home.
But you still, cause you know what? You're right. Cause I remember we've met, 7-8 years ago. Or, your daughter came up every week. Or, your daughter was, you always had your children.
I believe in shared custody.
Yeah. So you always played your part and you always did your thing. So the difficulty of now separating, disconnecting, but still building your business, how hard was that for you?
It became where when you're in a relationship that's kind of not functioning healthily, you kind of find a pastime or crutch. Let's call it a crutch. I got extra busy, right? And extra busy made me extra successful. Where instead of going home to argue, I would go to the office and work to 11, 12 o'clock.
So success was coming from your business, but life was going the opposite way. Well, not failure, but
my relationship
adjusted.
Yeah, the relationship was questionable. So, I kept my eye on the prize.
The most important part.
Yeah.
So now, when you started, business is growing. things are just, you have to adjust. Life adjusted for you.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't make that decision. It just adjusts. You now met the best thing that ever happened in your life. It's my dog. So
No. Well, first I had an intermission. I had a chance.
Okay.
I had a chance to be a bachelor.
Your father's proud again.
I'm proud.
You didn't mess up your life.
Okay, so now I'm able to focus on
The business.
kids and the business without any distraction. So guess what that did?
You going to another. Now you going hard. You locked in.
I'm going hard. I'm locked in, and don't forget, I'm hustling.
Back to the foundation.
Yeah. So now I've taken contracts to $1 million contracts. Now I'm buying properties, and
so you're not just doing the real estate part. You're now also investing.
Yeah.
So real estate. So now where you get the investment side? Like where?
Again, I go back to that guy, Darryl Roberts, who had a lot of properties.
So the mentorship and the wisdom you got from someone else, again, you saw him investing. So he did his construction job, but then he also invested.
Oh, yeah. He had 20, 30 plus houses. I remember we went on vacation one time, and, we all save for vacation, right? I put out, I think I bought my tickets and paid for the resort. And I said, I'm going to take about $1,000 with me for spending money.
Big money.
Oh, yeah, I'm balling. I'm going to blow 10.
I'm
going to blow
$1,000.
a whole $1,000 on this trip. I think maybe $1,200.
Big.
But anyway, we go to the casino one night.
This is how it always happens. This is how it happens.
And Mr. Man pulls out a $5,000 band and threw it on the table. My eyes got big.
You like, what just happened?
And then pulled out another one. I'm like, we do the same kind of business, bro. What
are you doing?
Yeah, he said, man, I got the rental properties, man, every month. And he did like this. Cha-ching. It come right back. Passive income. That's why I got exposed again to passive income. And I'm like, well, he can do this. If he can go buy a house, renovate it. That's what we do already. Maybe I can do it. And that's exactly what I did.
And when you did the first one?
Life changed. Because now you got passive income along with income.
You changed everything.
Changed the game.
How, I got to always go back to Mr. Saffold. How did he feel when you brought that up?
My son done made it to the championship game.
He's in the Super Bowl now. Because you went to the league, now you're in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Proud.
And I had some nice contracts. And I was blessed with the opportunity to buy in that neighborhood I'm living at now.
Early.
And I was able to build my dream home. And I was able
Beautiful too.
At the same time, I was able to build my office building. And I remember my dad.
You're single at that moment still?
Single. I was able to go and start World Famous.
Oh, you had to own the restaurant also?
Yep. And I remember him coming to me. He said, look, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you're getting all this money from, but whatever you're doing. I told you
before.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing, but...
I told you already. Don't let me tell you again. That first story, he told you.
Yep. And I had an opportunity to just, be a single man, not hurting nobody's feelings, not disrespecting nobody, and able to just live my life happily without being able to.
In the new house that you have, that you built.
New house. Oh my God. Don't do that. I was respectful. All right.
I didn't even do that. The house that I go to?
Yeah, that one. So
with the water.
Stop. So yeah. So I was able to.
Dad was proud.
I was able to just come and go as I wanted.
Absolutely. Freedom.
Freedom. But guess what? I realized that house was way too big.
It gets pretty lonely after
too
a while.
many shadows. And having this big old house alone is not the way to go.
Not to play.
And I went back to my quirk. My quirk is yearning to be nurtured and having that motherly figure.
Mm.
And
that's a real thing.
it is. I mean, like some people have daddy issues. Well, I
had mommy issues. I might have mommy.
Yeah, I'm airing out some things right now.
I probably had mommy issues. I'm starting to realize it.
Yeah. So now we can fast forward. I played. I didn't play, but I had a chance to not have to answer to nobody for a little while and realize I want to answer to the right person.
Mm.
And that's where
Lisa stepped in.
The Lord blessed me with.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna fast forward to the good part about this Lisa story because she is definitely that nurturer. I'm gonna leave that story. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not. So I walked into some Southern Kitchen.
I have some words for you right now.
No, I got to get into it. So Lisa's definitely what he's talking about. That nurturer, that person that is. You walk in the house, you want to make sure you eat. Like that's definitely what she does. So I understand what he's talking about and what he wanted. I now it all makes sense. But I'm gonna skip to a story that I realized clearly that my boy, my dog, definitely.
This guy.
I was like, I'm sitting in a Southern Kitchen having a morning breakfast, trying to start my day. I looked to the side of I was just like, just looking around Southern Kitchen. Hey, it's a community spot.
Yep.
Southern Kitchen, right?
It was Sunday, right?
On a Sunday.
Yeah.
We're community thing. That's what we do in the community. We work hard.
It was a Saturday.
Saturday was Saturday. Because I was going to the office when my office was across the street from Southern Kitchen. And I looked over and I saw this real cute couple. I seen this real cute couple with the same jogging suit, and I had to take a double like a card too. Like what? I was like, that's not my friend. No, that can't be. There's no way this man. Well, that's Lisa. I had to see Lisa first because I just didn't. I just was not gonna admit to myself that was Ezra, buddy Saffold. They had the same matching outfit, and I heard you picked it out that morning. So clearly. You definitely in a good position, my brother. I'm proud of you. You and Lisa are wearing the same matching outfit in 2022. It was cute, man. And at that moment, I realized I will never wear matching outfit. At that moment, no, but I think I'm super amazed by it, man. Because you guys are definitely she from what I see. The relationship and the support system, the love, the care, the nurturing. Every time I ever see Lisa, I think, that's her priority. She prioritized that for you. And I think, I just realized I have mother issues. So I learned there's a difference between love and care. You can be loved, but when somebody care for you, it's a whole different ball game. I know what love is now, and I also know what care is. And that hits different when someone care for you. They, it's like they kind of think in advance of what's happening, what's going on, what you're gonna need. Not just what you like or whatever. Like, what do you need is already there. So I think I know that elevated your business to another level now because now she's also involved in the business, and not only that, your children now are involved with the business. So I want you to get into the working dynamic with you and your wife. How does that work? But now the legacy now carries on. Now your son and your daughter is working in the company. Speak a little bit about both of those, please.
Well, let's start off from the beginning. I was a staunch believer that family and friends don't make a good work environment. There's going to be some kind of drama, some kind of a feeling or disrespect, crossing the line or whatever. So I did that for a number of years. I'd say 10 to 15 years where I'm by myself, right? Realized something not long ago that I'm training people. I'm molding people, and I'm giving people the game because a lot of people spawned off their own companies after working with me because of that natural hustling ability. And I realized that I'm giving people all this intellectual property, and they're taking it and leaving out the door with it. I'm not getting a return on my investment. I'm not getting where I'm pouring into all these people. And now I got a team that's going to allow me to be autonomous of the day-to-day operations of the company, to allow me to grow and do the things that I'm best at doing, or do something like development, or do something. When you're a business owner, you should be able to be a business owner and not be a slave to your company. That's the next level of it. Well, anyway, I realized that, people are just going to work as long as you pay them, and they're really, loyalty is something that is far and few in between, right? So my son and Lisa get to the point where they get involved. My son went to school for a football scholarship, and throughout his whole adult career, he's been, hey, your dad is doing good. Your dad's doing good. Hey man, if football don't make it, you got something to fall back on. You're lucky, right? So that was the plan. So he chased his football career, and he went as far as he could take it, and realized, hey, Daddy, I'm ready to hang my cleats up. Gotcha, right?
Your father did that for you.
Yep. Lisa come along. She's a rider. She's that rock, and she is so intelligent. She is so smart. She says, hey, what you need is to get the culture of your business right.
Talk your talk, Lisa.
You need to get training in your business. If you know her, she's a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I got all this talent between her and my son right here. I need to capitalize on it. And I realized that I don't want to do this till I stroke out. My father had a stroke. Mm-hmm. You know that. I didn't want to just work. So I need to start putting together an exit strategy, right? And that's what I need to start pouring into my family, right? Start grooming them like I've been doing other people, so that there's a legacy left when I'm not here, or I decide to not work as hard as I do. And that's the play now. So Lisa's our HR person, and she's doing a phenomenal job getting good talent in the door. My son's working there. Her daughter's working there, my bonus daughter. My daughter's an intern there, right?
Wow, powerful.
It's a family affair, and I love it now.
But one of the things you said, you're now investing. You're pouring into the cup of yours now,
and I know the return on investment is going to be there.
It's there.
Because I tell my son all the time. I say, look, man, this your league now. You're 100%. In the league. You didn't make it to the NFL league, but you're here. You can do the same thing I did. You're going to need to pay attention and take it from where I'm at.
Every time I see him, that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
And he's on it. And I think he also valued the fact that his dad was there to hold him down when it mattered. I think that's so important for fathers to do. And just as a businessman, like what you've done, I mean, this legacy, man. This is not you're not doing nothing small. I think is a whole book for you, man. Something more. You're doing super powerful things, but I think just that identity of fatherhood and transparent, like everything you're sharing, but your father did it, you're doing it, now your son's gonna do it. You are building your it started from TC Saffold. It kept on growing. Your father took it on, and now you're doing it. Now your son. This is generational, man. You definitely built a generational. You broke the generational curse. You're building a legacy business for your family's legacy. I hope I'm saying all that correctly, man. And for me, I want to add on to that, man. I think for you, just who you are as a man, I don't think a lot of people understand who you are and what you mean to me. And I think you checked me about that several times, not one time. You were there for me when I needed you. And it wasn't like you were fighting. It was like, I'm gonna hold you down. When I've been through my traumas, you know, different things in life, from the stepping up for me in the cafe, from stepping up as a friend, when I needed to talk to you, stepping up financially, like you always been there for me, man. And I think one of the biggest thing I gained from your friendship is when you sit down with me, you let me know you ain't a good friend. You literally would tell me, I'm not doing a good job as a friend. I need to call you. I need to set up, like, I need that. Because I think for me, I get cloudy in building my legacy and working on everything that I'm working on and the disconnection and the lessons that I go through. And sometimes I think I'm all by myself. And you show me several times that I'm not by myself. And not even the other things that you could do as a friend, but just a friend to talk to. And I think for me, I think what you do and who you are as a man is commendable. And I think you are an example. I think a lot of people need to hit you up for mentorship. You know, I don't know if you do that or not. And I just think not just the business side, you being a successful contractor, building a business, but just the quality of manhood, the quality of who you are as a genuine man. Like you pour into several people. And I see how you support the community. You support a lot of things. I always watch you. I always respect that. But like I said, you as a friend, man, I think anybody that could gain you as a friend is probably the most valuable tool I think they could have in life and also relationship. Because that's who you are as a stand-up man. And I know for sure this is just the beginning for you. I know the things that I know we want to, you know, we talk like things that I know I want to build with you and things that you have in the business that we're going to get together and build and create. With that said, I want you to talk about one last thing. So I'd be so much that we need to. I think we're going to do another next season. We're going to bring you in for some other stuff I have in mind. But if you had an opportunity to hire yourself, would you? And why?
Yes, I would hire myself. And why? Because I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm dependable. And I am honest, right? If I can't do it, I'm going to say I can't do it. That'll let you know that, hey, he said he can't do it. I can do what I need to do to make sure that's covered, right? And he says he's going to be there. If I'm getting off a plane at 4 o'clock, I can count on him to be out there at 4 o'clock to pick me up. I ain't got to wonder if he's going to be here. I can depend on him. So I know I bring dependability, reliability, and integrity. So as a business owner, that's all I ask for.
Everything as a man.
Yeah, that's all I ask for. You know, I can everything else can be taught, but you can't teach some skill set. You can't teach integrity. You can't teach, you know, dependability. You can't teach, you know, hey, do what you say you're gonna do.
Listen, man. Ezra, buddy, Saffold has been real, my brother. I think the next thing I need to come by the house and hopefully Lisa burned something when last time I was there. I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm just gonna leave that alone, Lisa. I got you.
If you listen, Lisa,
I'm gonna just leave it. Well, I just thought about a breakfast that we had, but that's another whole story. Now I'm gonna come by, man. I'm gonna come see Dad, man. That's another thing that I enjoy, man. Like you walking with your dad, you know, to the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yo, this is my last thing. I'm sorry. I really mean it this time. Now, that was something for me because I got a chance to, that was when I was really learning how to disconnect. Like, I didn't know how to just take time to enjoy one-on-one time because I was always working the bill. It was never enough. And I realized it's never going to be enough, but treasure the little things now. That's some of the things that I've also learned from you because I never forget the day that me and you walked your father to the Chinese store. That's all he wanted. It wasn't nothing expensive. It wasn't, son, buy me a new car. It was like, I want Chinese food. And it was the first time I literally, for a long time, I disconnected. And it was just, you wasn't asking me for anything. You didn't want me to do nothing for you. It was just, we're just walking to the Chinese store to gain. So for me, I definitely am working And I'm going to keep on working to get to that level again, to really just take time and cherish those little things, man. And I thank you, brother.
And thank you for having me.
Doing what you do, my guy. See you soon. And more matching outfits with you and Lisa. Thank you. God bless. Good night. We're good.
Stop the clock.